Hey class, look with me if you will on the screen. It's a rubric. It's got the general essay rubric, and I want to go over that and say a few words about it because it's important to get everybody on the same page so we know what to expect about the essays that you'll be required to write in this class. Now, I'm going to start by saying that all essays are different. So this is, again, up here at the top. And by the way, there's a copy of this uploaded in Module 1 of the General Essay Rubric Final Draft, and also the General Essay Rubric for the Rough Draft. So you can find them in Week 1 files under Module 1 when you need to. But for you don't have to run it off. Just look with me on the screen right now. I want to start by talking about, as I said, all essays are different. You'll have different goals. You'll have a different reason for writing them each time. But there's a few things that you always need to remember. When I think it's week 3 or 4, you'll be asked to submit an assignment that will contain several different phases, and those different phases, I'm using the word phases because it's different aspects of the assignment. For example, there'll be an outline due, there'll be a introductory paragraph due, a works cited page due. In addition, I'll also be expecting that week for you to turn in articles that you will be using on your works cited page, and any information that you're going to use from those articles, I want that highlighted. Okay, so you'll have to probably scan that to me, and in addition to that, I'll also be asking for you to submit what we call worksheets, source worksheets. All of those items are due for one assignment, okay? For 1 week. And what I'm getting around to saying is you'll need to upload them with multiple attachments, okay? And when you do that, just think logically. Think about how you would hand it in to me if we were in a classroom. You would want to staple your outline together with your works cited page and introductory paragraph, okay? Introduction paragraph. Then another stack that you would hand me would be the source worksheets, and then of course another would be the articles, the highlighted articles that you annotate. Now, so that would be 3 different attachments basically. If there's a lot of the articles, if there's numerous articles, then you may need to have one big file, or you may need to separate those out. But I ask for you to do that in a logical manner, okay? And always read the assignments carefully so you know exactly what to send to me, because if you don't submit all of it, then you lose points, okay? So, the next thing to remember, and very important, never, never, ever submit anything to me by email. Always upload it through Canvas. All right, when you send these attachments to me through Canvas, just forget about email. And the reason why is because I can edit it better, and I can make notes better, and than when you email it to me. Okay, and please do that. So, let's look at this general essay rubric. The first one that we see is the thesis. There is a section in the module, the first week module, that pertains nothing but for the thesis. I can't stress enough that you understand what makes a good thesis and what makes a bad thesis. So please review over that information before you begin writing anything for this class. Thesis, a thesis statement, thesis sentence, whatever you want to call it, it makes the world go round, okay? You have to get it right because it's going to guide your entire paper, all right? And I'm not going to go through that because that's what the information is uploaded for as an explanation. The next thing, we'll just go down the line. These are in no particular order because they all are important, even though they may be worth more than others, but you want to get all of them right. But NetTutor, you will, that is located on your, the left. Actually, there's a video on that as well, and you'll be able to find that. But when you go into Canvas, you'll find that on the left hand side of a column, and you hit NetTutor. And like I said, I have included a video of that. It's very self-explanatory anyway. You don't even really have to review over it. But NetTutor is your best friend, so you need to become very familiar with it very quick, because what that does is exactly what, if you have not fooled with it before, you're going to love it. Like I said, it's going to become your new best friend. Any correspondence for the class that I have you to do as a part of the essay, you have to submit that to me. Any correspondence from NetTutor. And every time you write an essay, maybe with the exception of the first one, I think, I'm not sure, but you look in those assignments to make sure what I put down, okay? That's why you gotta read it. You need to, let me back up and say this. Always, if you have time, submit it to NetTutor, because it's an extra pair of eyes that looks at it. It doesn't matter if I request that you submit it to NetTutor or not. It's just best for you that you do. There are times, what I'm saying, there are numerous times in our semester together that I will say you have to submit it to NetTutor, and I have to have the correspondence. All right, but if I were you, I would definitely take advantage of the NetTutor. All right, because it is, like I said, it's exactly what it says. They will help you with your essay. They will help you with your grammar and your punctuation. They will help you make sure that your sentences are coherent. In other words, you can go down the line here with this rubric, and they will help you make sure that you are on track with what you are assigned to do. It's a very useful tool, okay? So please be familiar with that and use it frequently. The next one that you see is the grammar and sentence structure. It's worth 20 points, so it's very important. And so you know, there's presentations in the first week module. There in the files and presentations video. You'll find PowerPoint presentations about the grammar, and there's also sections in your book. I put the page numbers down. Please, please, please pay careful attention to that, because it costs so many points. And on here, just make note that if you have more than 3 major writing errors, and major writing error is would be a fragment, run-on, or comma splice. If you have more than 3, it's an automatic failure. That is a traditional, as a general rule, in pretty much any college that you would ever attend, that's the norm. Okay, that's not my rule. That's just the norm. So more than three major writing errors, it's an automatic failure. Again, that's another reason why you want to get familiar with NetTutor. And first of all, you want to proof your papers before you send it out. You want to get it spruced up yourself through proofing, because you know what you're trying to say according to what I signed. All right, you make sure that you've got that going before you even submit it. to NetTutor. Far as minor assignments, they add up. Minor errors, they add up. Commas, no contractions. When you're writing a scholarly paper, no contractions, okay? So those will cost you if you continually mess up and say, one or two contractions. It's not going to hurt you. But if I see a whole paper full of them, it's gonna kill your grade. All right. So you've got to pay attention to that. This is scholarly writing. This is not informal email, text, whatever you want to call it. This is scholarly academic writing. So no contractions. Also, your sentences need to be complex and written in a manner that's unifying and coherent. Meaning that you're not sprouting off, just regurgitating a bunch of facts. I have received papers, too many unfortunately, that it's just regurgitating facts. It's not conversational. It needs to flow. And the way that you ensure that is the way that you make sure that you're writing your sentences and that they are coherent, that they make sense. It makes sense what you're writing. Read what you wrote, okay? And you have transitional sentences that unify the paper from one paragraph to another. All of those things are important, all right? That's the thing that we're talking about under the grammar and sentence structure. Also, the complex manners, you need complex sentences. You need academically challenging sentences. You do not need simple sentences all the time. You need compound. You need complex. All right? Those are the things we're going to be looking for. Works cited page. There, you'll have to have a works cited page, as I said, on more than one of your essays. And make sure that your in-text citations are correct. You find that in your textbook, and we'll go over that more as the time goes. But that's a key. That's a letter grade if they're wrong. Sources. Always make sure that if you have something on your works cited, then it better be in your paper as an in-text citation, okay, or vice versa. If you are using it as an in-text citation, then it has to be in your works cited. They have to match and they have to be done correctly. Meets the assignment requirements. That's pretty basic. But if I assign, I think the first one is an evaluation, and I give a specific assignment on what I want done. It has to match. You have to get a thesis that fulfills that assignment, and then the rest of the paper backs up what that thesis says. Okay, you're proving your thesis throughout, right? You're offering the support. Okay. The format. This is important. 12 font, Times New Roman for the typeset. Third person. That means no I, no you. Okay, and be careful when you open up your introduction paragraph that you do not use an understood you. So asking a question might not be a very good idea to start the paper off. I'll talk more about that down here under introduction and conclusion. But what you need to do is you need to remember, get rid of the you, get rid of the I, third person, and watch when you are referring. Remember, this is academically scholarly writing. Okay, when you say one may find, use that sparingly instead of you may find. Of course, again, take out the you. But I have found a lot of times that students force the use of one because they are, quite frankly, they're lazy and they're not wanting to find another word, and they just replace you with one. Mix it up, all right? Yeah, third person, no contractions. I've already covered that. And follow the MLA header that is in your textbook, and we'll go over that again. And it needs, all of them needs to be double spaced, and they need to have a creative title as well. One thing that you always remember is that it is 5 paragraphs, unless you're told otherwise. It's a general essay. It's 5 paragraphs. Okay. You will know that by the assignment. All right. So, but just keep that in mind. You have to have 3 main points, and that should also guide your thesis as well. Whatever it is, the points that you're trying to prove, you've got to put that in your thesis, right? Okay. The introduction and conclusion. Attention getter. Also, you may have heard it referred to as a hook. Also, in the introduction and conclusion, the thesis is the last sentence in the first paragraph, and it is also restated in the conclusion. You sum up what you told in the conclusion, and you restate that thesis. You have topic sentences and transition sentences as well. They transition from each other, but also, of course, you're going to have a transition sentence from the 4th paragraph to the last paragraph, which is the conclusion. All right, and then all the other, all 5 paragraphs, with the exception of the conclusion, you're not going to transfer. You're not transitioning to anything after the conclusion. Okay, but all the other ones need a topic sentence and a transition sentence. A little bit about the attention getter. As I said a while ago, you might not want to open up with a question because of the if you can word it in such a way that you do not use an understood you. Just be mindful of that, because I catch that, and that'll cost you some points. You can open up with a statistic, and there's some suggestions as well that you'll see when we get to a certain part of the course. There's a whole section on introduction paragraphs, but quotations is a good way to open up. Statistics, an anecdote, maybe a joke that's an appropriate joke. There's all kinds of ways that you can do it. Just make sure that you pay careful attention, that it's grammatically correct as the rest of it, and that it draws your reader in, okay? And I want to say one more thing I want to emphasize about the thesis. As I said, there's a whole section of thesis information, but that thesis, if it isn't grammatically correct, you'll notice here it says free of grammatical errors. That also includes that it has to be in 3rd person, and you cannot have the you and I. Do not give me your opinion I'm not asking for your opinion in any of these unless you are specifically told, write a narrative or something like that. No, your opinion is in 3rd person, okay? No being verbs. Watch your being verbs in your thesis. Watch your being verbs throughout the whole paper. You want to use action verbs. If you have too many being verbs, I'm not going to count off, if you have 3 or 4 in your paper, and you may say, oh my gosh, 3 or 4. Again, this is scholarly writing. So you just need to be mindful of that. You need to use action verbs. And how you do that is, I want to mention something about the sentence structure, a little bit more about that. One more thing that ties in with what I'm saying about to watch out about the being verbs. If you will structure your sentences to where you have the subject and the verb and the object, you usually have less trouble with being verbs that way. It's good to mix up. Don't get me wrong, it's good to mix up. You don't want to have all subject, verb, and complement. But you do want that in the mix, definitely, and it helps you make sure that your sentences are structured appropriately as well. That pretty much sums it up. Watch your tense changes. Very important, because you have to write in the present tense, and you can't shift changes. You can't be in the past and then go back to the present. Shift changes, that's almost a major error. Okay, it's not classified as a major one, but it's going to cost you every time that you have a tense change. You're going to see you're going to see about 5 points taken off. Okay, all right. Make sure that you download a copy of the general essay rubric, and you keep it. And if because sometimes there may be changes, it may be somewhat different from the one that we're looking at here, but the one that is uploaded in your week 1 module, that's the one that we're going to go by. Let me reiterate that this is a general essay rubric. There are times for the argumentative, for the comparative analysis, possibly for more of them. I have specific rubrics. Okay, this is just a general one to make sure all of this is covered. You make sure everything in the general is covered, and then you look at the specific one as well, because they overlap, but yet the specific ones have a little bit more detail than the general. Okay, so until our next video, looking forward to reading your writing, your essays, and I know they're going to be great. Okay, so let's get started.